Mr. Chair, recording has begun.
Since we're involved with the 250th, it would be nice to possibly have some help. I don't know if she'll probably. Okay, great, thanks.
Okay.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you? Hi, Jane.
Mr. Chair, is your microphone working?
No, because I didn't turn it on. Anything useful?
Yeah, push the button. There you go.
I think
Okay.
I pushed too hard.
11 o'clock. So what I'd like to do is begin the process here and call meeting to order. If we could begin with a pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. So the first item on the agenda today is discussion around the minutes from the last meeting. I was not in attendance at that meeting, so if anybody has any comments, please let me know.
I have no comment.
Okay.
And I accept the minutes as.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the
second it.
minute?
A second.
Let's, I'm sorry, who is motioning the approval?
We don't have one in motion yet. I just asked for a motion.
No, I make a motion that we accept the minutes.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
And I said I second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Okay.
So just for our records, Commissioner Chandler made the motion and then Commissioner Hobbs seconded the motion.
Yep.
The vote was approved unanimously. 4-0.
Okay.
So noted.
Chair, I don't know, I don't believe that we did, now that I'm thinking about it, we did not do a roll call, or did we?
We did not, but we can.
Let's start with the meeting with that.
Okay. You want to call off the list?
Pardon?
You want to call off the list of the appropriate members and we'll see
Sure.
who's here.
Kelly, go ahead, please.
Chair Gilpin,
Here.
Vice Chair Bowling is absent. Ms. Chandler,
Here.
Ms. Hobbs,
Here.
Councilman Gutenberg.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Don. All right, so we'll need to add that on the agenda next time and we'll
Yeah.
make sure we capture it properly.
Yep.
Okay, matters for discussion. So the first item on the agenda here is the adopted the town council resolution 2611 for the HPC work plan. I don't know, Don, if you want to talk to that. I've looked at the plan. We know what it is.
Yeah, this is, staff wanted to transmit this to the commission formally to let you know that, that the town council, excuse me, had approved your work plan, that you had recommended on November 21st, 25. There were no changes to the work plan and it was adopted, as proposed. And I've included the council resolution adopting that work plan, as well as the actual work plan items themselves, so that the commission can also keep track with staff in terms of what to anticipate for any particular calendar year, and to look forward to what we'll be doing in the future. So we are off and ready to go with our 5-year work plan. If anyone has any questions, obviously during at any time about the work plan, please let me know at the meetings, or you can call me or email me separately.
So you also included in the work package a document that transmits the work plan to us, I guess.
Yes, sir.
With comments and the only action in there is to file.
Yes, receive and file.
So that's good, but in terms of implementing the plan, what's next?
Okay, so we're actually in the implementation phase of it in anticipation of without trying to second guess our council, but we've already started implementation of the first year's work plan 25, 26. And we'll get to that next item, which was the Centennial Plaque Program.
Right.
We'll run through that.
And then the other item I think was serving from memory was the Maryland 250 stuff.
So if you want me to go through it, I'm happy
Well, what
to
I'm
do
looking
that.
for is an implementation plan.
Okay, the
So,
implementation plan is there. It starts on page 1. And it started with the
Yeah.
Centennial Plaque Program. We are currently in the process of developing programming for the Maryland 250. And we're also in the process of putting together a preservation professionals list. Both of those two items, the last two items, all three of them actually we'll be talking a little bit about today to give you an update. For 26, 27 or fiscal year 27. We have on the capital improvement plan budget, a request for rehabilitation to the La Plata Firehouse Museum, Oral History Program, and the Legacy Business Program. And those, we'll start to work on the implementation of those after July 1st, depending on what's funded or what's not.
okay.
And that's
So
where we're at.
what I'm looking for is, I mean, what you just ran through is exactly what was in the plan that we approved
Mhm.
2 meetings ago. And at that time, we had talked about detailed implementation plans. And I was just curious if there's been any progress on that, because some of those topics, even we've got the 2 topics for this year, and we're supposed to be doing something. I know where the plaque program is, but I'm not sure what's going on with Maryland 250 or the other.
We're going to talk about that
Good.
that's why I'm on the
Awesome.
agenda.
And then as we build up towards working towards next year's project, especially the larger ones like the museum, what are the steps between today? Some kind of action, there'll be a budget action. Is there any support or information needed from HPC in terms of supporting those efforts, or do you need anything? Or do we continue doing what we've been doing, which is not much? And how is that going to lay out? I just want to be ready to staff the effort.
Staff will be very clear about our process as we lay things out. Right now, staff's focus is on the first 3 items that we have on our work plan. The plaque program, which we'll go into the Maryland 250 and the preservation professionals list. I will have more information as we start to get into the fiscal year 27, which will start on July 1st of 2026.
Yeah.
And then staff will bring you information, and we will start with direction in terms of what staff needs to continue to facilitate or start to facilitate items 4, 5, and 6 for the 26, 27 work program.
Mhm.
So these, if you're asking what's going on with specifically with the Firehouse Museum, the World History Program, Legacy Business Program, at this moment, other than budgeting requests for those items, there is nothing being done at this time, because we have 2 other items right now that we're processing. And then we have to implement the Centennial Plaque Program if the council provides budget for it in this coming fiscal year.
Okay, so is there anything required? Maybe I'd ask the question to you, Paul, that in support of the budgeting process between now and July, in support of the museum that's going to hopefully kick off next year?
So the short answer is there is not anything for the HPC to do.
Okay.
I will tell you in the budget conversations that the council had earlier this week, related to the Historic Firehouse Museum, I believe, from memory, the specific ask was there was a question about the town refinement of the estimate that we received that was essentially generated by this commission. So we received that as an agenda item late last year. And so we have that number, and that number is what is in the budget. And I think my impression is that the questions that were asked were around a refinement of that from town staff, not from the HPC. So
Okay.
so that's out there. The other item of discussion around the historic firehouse museum was around looking at it in the same way, that using the same paradigm that the council is applying to its consideration of the Dorchester Community Center, right? And so that the way we are looking at that, in my view, as a council, is that it is an investment in infrastructure that also has an operational element to deliver the envisioned services for each of those things, both the Dorchester Center and this historic firehouse. And really the development of the paradigm is really around the Dorchester Center, which is that in order to make it a large investment in a town asset or a facility, the council wants to understand, and town staff also wants to understand how delivery of the service that's intended to be inside of that asset will operate, who's paying for it, who's executing it, right?
Okay.
And so in that's how we're doing it with the Dorchester Center. And so that is how we're proposing that we do it with the firehouse as well, right? It keeps things consistent. And I think we understand it the same way. And this goes to, you know, some of the discussions we've had in here about operation of the existing museum, right? And so,
Yeah. I think I
yeah.
understand where you're heading.
yeah, okay.
Uh,
So those are just the kind of things that I expect will end up getting addressed for resolution, you know, as the budget questions continue to get refined and answered through the process this year.
Okay, fantastic. So in terms of a process emerging for the operation of the museum, when do you hope to have something in hand, or I have an understanding of what that's going to look like?
There's no timeline known for when the town manager could refine the budget numbers for what is estimated to do the work reasonably inside the firehouse for what's being asked.
Okay.
So I don't have an answer to that. The budget will have to be passed by a date, right? And there's certain gates that are out there. Off the top of my head, I won't quote them, but they're approaching rapidly.
May 15th.
Right.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
so
we
right.
will likely know by the next meeting that we're here. Yeah, I would think we would
Yeah,
know.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the
Okay.
budget has to be passed by May 15th.
Right. Well, so we'll know if the firehouse was resolved to a point where it's passed in this budget or not. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that helps. I think I understand.
The rest of the things in the work plan, my impression is based on the questions that were asked, is that those things are probably low risk to not get funded, is my assessment.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I keep asking about the museum, because I know it's a long-term effort and it's going to be a significant one, not a smaller one that we can handle easily. So that's why I keep
Right.
asking.
And
about
it's part of a list of a number of projects, right? So it's going to be
Right.
competing with all of that.
that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And that's why, I'm curious about anything that can be done that we can help you with in terms of facilitating that conversation. And because the last thing I'd like to hear when we meet again in a couple of months is, oh, well, nothing emerged on operations, so we got nothing. So we
Well,
defer to another
yeah.
year. And that's
But I will say, that is a possibility, right?
Yes,
So,
it is.
be prepared for that.
Yeah.
That is a possibility.
Yeah.
And that just means it can mean one of a couple things, right? It can mean there needs to be more time, and that might be another budget year, right? It doesn't
Yeah.
mean lack of all interest, stop of all momentum,
No,
right? It could just
understood.
be a shifting in, where it landed in the priorities in this particular year.
I
Waitlisted, I think.
Yeah, so, I'm gonna go way out on the limb here and presume that ultimately the town will do something here. After all, the town's already invested in a whole building. They've already invested money. It's been updated once since I think the town took it over. The amount of work to be done to get it to the next step isn't that much, but it's real. And, but I anticipate you all will find a path. It's just a matter of timing.
Yeah, and I agree with what you're saying. I think in that the best thing that this commission could do for its survival in the budget is what has already been done, which is the presentation that was put together, the work to you know, to come and bring it to council as it was done, you know, a few months back. I think that's the best we could have done to get us to the point we're at. Yeah.
Okay. Very, very good. Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts on, we're really still talking about the town, the council resolution and the plan going forward?
I have no questions.
No, I have no questions.
I would ask you, Don, to, I have to assume at this point now that you have the framework for the 5-year plan, that the next step will be for you to develop the more detailed planning of steps forward for these things, even if it's fullest detail for the current year and a little less detail for the next year and less detail for the year after that. But somewhere along the line, an implementation of planning and that we can look at.
It will happen by fiscal year. As for the details as for each of those plans will be presented to the commission, outlining what the process will be, and what the objectives and goal, and going back over the objectives and goals, and what staff will be looking for from the commission in terms of any feedback, subcommittee support, that sort of thing.
All right.
But to outline them from now until the 5 years is not something that's needed at this point.
So
The outline is
just to be
basically
clear
been
in my ask
provided.
here, then I wouldn't expect to see any more detailed planning from you relative to the firehouse until July at least.
Until July, yes. If I know that if I know that the items on the work plan have been funded, then staff will begin that
So-
process of going
So-
through and implementing
okay.
those items on the work plan.
So I will leave this conversation between you and the town council, but it would seem to me that the staff could do a service to the council if they set up a plan in terms of how that will be implemented sooner, rather than waiting till after the council makes a decision on budget. If you were to lay out the steps required to get the plan executed for the firehouse, it would help their discussions relative to the budget. But I will leave that conversation between you and them. And that would be my advice from the HPC to you to deal with that.
If I could just add, right? So I'll remind you of the conversation we had the last meeting I think we were at. We got into a discussion about detailed plans, right? I think
Yep.
the council has asked from town staff what it needs related to that. So that communication is done, right? I don't think we need to give staff any other direction on that, right? Like that is happening. But the way that Mr. Dooley will communicate the 5-year plan to us is exactly as what we're seeing today. So the next thing we have coming up is on the agenda is the staff report on the Centennial Plaque Program.
Mhm.
Centennial Plaque Program is the first thing that we're doing on the 5-year plan. Here is the staff report on it. That's the detailed issue that we're dealing with. Yeah.
We have gone, and when we get to that item, I'll do a little presentation here and I'll tell you the next steps.
Okay. Right now, the only action that we're going to take is file the plan.
It's just receive and file. It's just an informational item.
I'm best at doing nothing. I'm very successful. Okay, we'll do it. All right. Any other questions?
I have none.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right, so let's move right along then to the adopted town council resolution relative to the plaque program.
Okay. So on January 16th, the Planning Commission, or excuse me, the Historic Preservation Commission had recommended approval to the town council of the proposed Centennial Plaque Program, with the presumption that the council ultimately approves the work plan, which did occur. And so this went to the town council for their review. It was on March 10th, 2026. It was put on their consent calendar and the Centennial Plaque Program was approved as recommended and drafted by the Historic Preservation Commission. So where we stand now with this program is we are waiting for staff is anticipating and has requested funding for the Centennial Plaque Program. Once when we know we have a budget for that, we can begin implementing the Centennial Plaque Program. But that wouldn't start, and the earliest that would start is for the new fiscal year 2027, which starts on July 1st of 26. We have the outline for, or not the outline, we have the program identified. That was an attachment to the agenda. The staff worked for the item. And so now it's fundamentally, assuming we have the budget for it, we will put together an application process for that will be managed at staff level. The applications will be received as based on the program guidelines. The information will be submitted by whoever those applicants are that have buildings, structures, object sites that are at least 100 years old or more. That information will be presented to the agendized for the commission. Commission will have the opportunity to approve or deny or the individual applications. To get there,
Who would do that? Excuse me. The
excuse me,
town council will do that?
no, the planning, the Historic Preservation Commission.
Yeah,
will do
thank you.
that.
Okay.
To get there though, staff is going to recommend, as they will for other programs that the council ultimately vets and approves and budgets for, is to have a subcommittee to that, rather one or two people, depending on the commission's preference, that are going to be advocates for these programs. And so like for the Centennial Plaque Program, having an advocate go out to property owners that we believe, at least to get the program started, we believe that are at least 100 years old, and identify the program to the property owners, see if they're interested in the program, help facilitate their application, and to bring these applications ultimately to the Historic Preservation Commission for review and hopefully approval, and to start getting some plaques out there. The program would be limited to a maximum of 5 plaques per year. So I know Commissioner Chandler was very instrumental in helping to put the Centennial Plaque Program together. I don't know if she might be interested in being appointed on that committee to implement for implementation purposes. But that would be my suggestion, staff's recommendation, to really kick the program off. I think it's really important to demonstrate not only to the council that the program is viable, but to get the word out to the community, and start developing an interest in some of these programs that we're going to be putting together for the community in the future, to kick it off. People may not be necessarily aware of it, and staff has very limited time to be involved in the promotional aspect of it. We will as opportunities arise, but I think it'll be good for the commission to see the program more fully vetted or implemented by having an appointed person or persons assigned to promoting that program.
Thank you, because I feel like it's been stagnant for a while. So right now we're waiting on,
We're just waiting on the council. Assuming that the council
funding.
funds
Yeah.
funds it, then we would be able to kick off that program July 1st.
July. Got it.
So, we have funding in our budget this year for plaques, right?
Well, I don't know where,
Our-
we just completed paying for the schoolhouse marker, which is going to be
Right, that was,
installed.
yeah. And
So
then,
I don't know what's left in the budget.
right, so,
But this program is not going to kick off.
It will not kick
July,
off
which is
before July
only
1st.
2 months, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're okay with that.
well, I guess what I was gonna ask is if there's funding, if there's anything we can do to get started rather than waiting another 3 months, but.
I have
defer.
money budgeted specifically for this program proposed in the 27 budget.
Okay, and that's fine,
And
but
we need to work with the town staff
sure,
to make this happen. That's has been our holdup. So if town staff is not available to us until July of 2026, then that's okay. And work on it over the summer, hopefully get some plaques in place before the end of the year.
We need to have, we will put together, staff will put together the application and the materials. So that'll give us a little bit of time on that, but fundamentally, it doesn't, if the commission appoints somebody for that committee, there's no reason that they can't begin today. Fundamentally, making them aware of the program, the subject to council funding, but to get the applications ready.
When would the council appoint somebody?
The council won't appoint anybody. This is the appointment of a subcommittee member or members to facilitate.
HPC could.
The
set that up.
HPC is the one be
We could
appointing
set that up.
that person.
Okay.
So if you're so inclined, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you're so inclined, we could probably move on that today.
That's,
And that would give you the opportunity to, and if there's other members are interested in supporting the effort, that'd be
Yeah.
awesome. If not, we'll see about getting you help.
I would be willing to accept that appointment and hopefully Jane will assist with that.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Okay, so then, what I'd like to do is propose a motion that we establish the committee, plaque committee,
Implementation committee at this point.
okay, implementation committee, today, and, looking for a motion to do that. Or I guess I just made the motion,
Yes.
whatever's proper.
So you're motioning, you're making the motion that
Establish the plaque implementation program up with Patty.
Commissioner
Chair.
Chandler and Commissioner Hobbs being appointed to that committee.
Yep. They can decide how to govern it from there.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
And what will happen is that as we start developing these programs and committees to support them or to implement them, I will be putting on the agenda an opportunity for the individual committee members to provide public feedback in terms of what your activities have been, potential successes, opportunities that you see coming forward, so that the commission staff and the public have an idea of kind of where things are at and how the implementation's going.
So I guess this will replace the subcommittee that kind of existed before relative to the plaques, right? That's how the whole.
There'll be an agenda item in the future that has subcommittee reports, and the Centennial Plaque one will be the first one on there as we go through and start doing other ones. Like, for example, we have one actually for the Maryland 250, which our Commissioner Chandler's was Commissioner Hobbs, and it was former Commissioner Hatcher. And so today we can, when we talk about the Maryland 250 program, I'm going to recommend if we want to have another appointment to replace former Commissioner Hobbs in that committee.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that? I'm so sorry.
We got kind
No,
of
here's
lost on that. We're on the 250 now.
We'll move. We're moving fast. You gotta be with us.
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
The long and short of it was, I'm recommending, since Commissioner, you and former Commissioner Hatcher were appointed to the Maryland 250 Program Committee, I'm going to recommend that we get to that item, that we have a new appointment to replace former Commissioner Hatcher for that.
Kathy resigned, so
We were not aware that
yeah,
Kathy.
Kathy resigned, submitted her resignation.
Okay.
All she said there was that it was for personal reasons, so accept that as it stands. We will miss her. We've had her for 3 months, so it's, and she's already jumping right in. So when I replied to her message, and hopefully when her situation's resolved, she'll look to come back and we can find have her help again. But right now she can't do it. So
That leaves you with the 250.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's
if I understand it.
pretty
So-
big right
Yeah.
now.
Was the
For one
250
person,
established
I
at the
think.
last meeting? Did I miss
Yes, it was.
Okay. All right.
Now. So that leaves you as the appointed person.
Well, I assume we're, Commission Chair, we're on on that item that.
Well, not really. So we're still kind of talking. I'm not sure exactly how to do this. So, because there are other sub chairs that we'll need to, I think you and I need to chat after this meeting to talk about other reports that we should be getting routinely.
Okay.
So the first one that comes to mind is we've had a subcommittee essentially
Mhm.
working the train museum. And, you know, I'd like to be able to talk to that. And, Bob Curran was leading that.
Okay.
And we'll, you know, need to see if, how we want to handle that going forward.
I
And
mean, we're already a third of the way through the 250. So,
Yes, we've got a bit of a late start on it, but we're making progress on that. We already have, as Commissioner Hobbs will attest to, we're already making plans for that. And I do have, I assume that we're on item 4.1.
I guess so. We can move there, sure.
Okay, so I believe
yes.
we finalized our needs for the Centennial Plaque Program for under item 3.2.
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Kelly, is Lucinda online?
I'm here.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you, Lucinda. Okay, so for the Maryland 250 program, we had, as I stated earlier, we had previously appointed, Commissioner Hobbs and former Commissioner Hancher for the Maryland 250 program. Myself and Lucinda Anderson, who's the Special Projects Coordinator for the town, met with those two members of the subcommittee to discuss programming for the Maryland 250 for La Plata. And what I'd like to do, Lucinda, is if maybe you want to summarize that meeting and kind of the next steps of where we're going with it. And then we'll circle back. I'll take it from there.
Great. Don, am I on the screen?
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
it pulled down? Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me in your meeting. We met to talk about the subcommittee's role in assisting with our Maryland 250 celebration. And even though we have two dynamic ladies in these roles, I'm sure that we welcome the participation of anyone, especially our fearless Mary Beth Chandler, who's taken on a couple of events. What we decided to do to maximize our budget is to sprinkle the Maryland 250 throughout our existing events. The event budget is pretty robust. So instead of creating one entire event and trying to lead people to come to that event, we're going to incorporate a Maryland 250 activity into the major festivals. And those festivals are the first one coming up April 25th, Celebrate La Plata. And then the 4th of July festival, the Fall Festival on October 4th, and the lighting of the Christmas tree, which is December something. That one date I don't have in my mind yet. The whole schedule has been put online on townoflaplata.org, so you can go there and look at those dates. So those are the four major festivals. And our two subcommittee representatives have committed to being the liaison with our booth. So Don, is this the time to talk about Celebrate La Plata, or you just want to highlight of the four responsibilities of the subcommittee?
Listen, I would sort of outline a little bit about a couple of the program ideas that
Okay.
we're currently working on. And I would probably refrain from things that we don't know about yet, but concepts, but that we're currently working on for some of those programs that we know of at this point.
Yeah, and as you do that, if you could specifically address where you're looking for support from HPC to help with this, let us know.
Okay, great. So we identified several areas that are geared toward boosting community participation and really being able to show the strength of La Plata. Like, where do we fit into the Maryland 250 movement? One of the first initiatives is to make sure that our schools are involved. I've already reached out to several of the schools to see what they have to offer. First thing that I knew is that our School of the Arts is always looking for performance opportunities and opportunities for the students to have a real life showcase of what they're doing. So to that end, we talked about having an art project of some type. Don't know if we can conceptually have a mural going because that's a whole lot of other zoning issues and so forth. But we decided that we'd work with the schools on having like a mural on canvas or some other weatherproof material that could move and travel around the town. They love that idea. I've already talked with PASOTA, which is Phoenix School of the Arts, and we are we're refining that idea. We talked about having participation on the elementary level, the middle, and the high. And so the activities will reflect the ability of those age groups and what the schools can offer. Most of those deliveries are going to be Fall Festival and the December Festival because we need time for these things to be executed. The other major idea with the schools and the community is to have a scavenger hunt around the town, the incorporated town of La Plata. And if we can't find enough to scavenge, then we'll go out to the rest of La Plata. But run that from spring through the summer so that teachers can plan field trips, parents can plan outings, and then again, Fall Festival in October, we can have the prizes, everyone turning in their scavenger information and that kind of thing. Another thing we talked about is specific to Celebrate La Plata, where we will have living history. We'll have an encampment, and then where the HPC comes in is that our subcommittee will chair our booth. We have ordered costumes that are authentic. Don has costumes as well. I'm finding out that officers Payne and Posey are really into the living history, and they're on the boards and whatnot of some reenactment groups. So between Don, Posey, Payne, and what we've ordered, the booth will be set up and people will come to try on costumes and hats, kind of like when you go to King's Dominion and they have the vintage backdrop and people put on period pieces. So we'll have that with Celebrate La Plata, and our subcommittee is running that. Definitely a place for other volunteers because 4 hours is long and short at the same time when you're trying to manage the crowds. The other initiative is having the families and businesses of La Plata not donate, but kind of showcase their artifacts, their photos, anything that they have that reflects the timeline and lineage of La Plata. And on the schedule, December, it's the week before the 22nd. On that schedule, we have an open house, a holiday open house. That open house will serve 2 functions. We will have holiday, like light hors d'oeuvres and some music, because we really have great displays sometimes. And if you don't attend the brunch with Santa or the Christmas tree lighting, you never get into Town Hall to see it. So we've scheduled it on one of the council Tuesdays. And during this time, we're going to invite our families to pretty much set up an area with their artifacts and be available to speak to the attendees about excuse me, allergies, their personal family history with the town. Is that Jane down there?
Yes.
Hi, that's what I thought. Hey, Jane, did I miss anything? Would you like to chime in?
Well, I think I'm not sure you were on when we were discussing it, but I
Alright.
am now that person. We're very limited right now, so.
Okay.
So I guess I wanted to kind of keep that in mind and see what we could do about that and what the commission could do as far as helping with that. I think as far as outlining the 4 activities, you did a great job of that. Would you go back a little bit more on the scavenger hunt? Because I don't think in our subcommittee, we really fleshed that out much. Can you give us more of a vision on that?
Sure. There are several prototypes for the scavenger hunt. For a couple of years, I was a part of the EMS station. I just have too many other things now, and I wasn't able to show up to all the meetings, so I'm not a part of it. But they did a scavenger hunt and identified places around the town and had some kind of ballot. And the prize was a Yeti cooler full of various items. So people donated the items. I think that's a good prototype. We're going to ask businesses if they would like to participate in donating items for a large prize. Maybe we can probably have a first, second, and third. That seems fair. And they gave clues, and people had to figure out where to go. So, for instance, one of the clues might be, where is the giant purple martin? So someone would need to Google to figure out who is the purple martin person. And then they'd find out, oh, it's a bird, and see the picture, and then they come to town hall. That's one way of doing it. The way I would like to do it, which is the least labor for everybody involved. You're like, yep, yep. Now you can actually have an electronic scavenger hunt, and there are companies that come out to your site and they put the whole thing together, the QR code, how all of these cell phones, tablets, whatever, are going to connect to it. I think that's the best way to do it. To that end, I would like to do that for one of our events so we can share the cost budget-wise for having the companies put it together. So for all of these events, or the integration of the HPC and Maryland 250 into the special events calendar, Don has a budget, and then I have a budget, and we're merging those 2 budgets to make all of it happen.
Do you have a date for the scavenger hunt?
It's going to take place. We don't have a beginning date yet, but we have a culmination date of October 4th. So the idea is that we don't want to stress the community with having to get the kids or themselves to all of these places in 1 month. Ideally, I think if we could launch the idea at Celebrate La Plata and get signups, get information, or provide them with a QR code, a link that they can go to for more information. And maybe right around the beginning of May, we'd be able to hit the seniors before they leave high school. They'd get the information, and then everybody else can get the information. And they have May until October to complete the quest. I think that also gives us a lot of time to man up with our manpower and so forth. But if it's electronic, we don't have to create much outside of posting the rules, which they will provide, and answering questions. And then being available on October 4th with a booth to receive the people and, you know, give them some tchotchke because they participated, a badge, a certificate, something like this, and then have the first, second, and third prize.
Cool.
Hey, can I just ask you one more question?
Mhm.
I think we had talked about at April, the subcommittee had talked about possibly having some people taking pictures and all that. Remember we talked about
Yeah,
that?
photograph.
Yes.
Photographing some of these people in costumes and they could take the photographs home and all. What can we move on that or what?
Oh, it's done. I've already hired the photographer.
Oh, wonderful.
The backdrop is sitting somewhere here. It came in. It may be in my office. It may be in the reception area. So I have the backdrops, the costumes, the photographer.
Great.
Before Celebrate La Plata, if it's convenient to your schedule, it would be great for you and whomever is going to help you with the booth to come in and we can do a mock table so that the day of Celebrate La Plata, you're not there with a bunch of boxes and wrinkled tablecloths and stuff like that, trying to figure it out. I mean,
Right.
these are the things that drive me nuts. When I open a box, I like the look and feel to be correct.
Mhm.
So, you know, we've got wrinkled stuff. We're trying to open up packages. We figure out, oh my God, this has to be assembled. So to eradicate all of that, to your convenience, somewhere around mid-April, if we can get together, put the table together, then you know what to expect. Everything will be sitting here, not really sitting here. I'll have your tent set up. The tables will be outside with a box that you've put together so you understand how you organized it. It will
Wow.
all be in your area, the signage, everything. And I'm counting on you to just have the booth manned and you have a reasonable schedule of who's going to be there. We will have food and drinks for you. It should be a fun day.
Mhm.
To add to that, Commissioner Hobbs, I will also be there too. So staff is going to be participating in that as well.
Hey, Don, great. Thanks.
So, this is Rich. I got a couple of questions for you. And
Sure.
thoughts. First of all, in regards to the scavenger hunt, as you set up the specific items, perhaps you could find a way to highlight the train museum and our potential future home for a La Plata museum or the firehouse, or at least, and put those into it. So, and if we can support setting up in any way for that, I appreciate that. We'll do it.
Mr. Gilpin, before you go forward on that, I actually would like your committee or whomever is going to help with the scavenger hunt, if you could give me a list, that would be really great. Because then I'll pass on to the company the places that we want on the scavenger hunt. And then because they have their nice technology, they may know other places that they've identified through the drones or however they do it. But if you could give me the places, that'll ensure that nothing's left out. Some things are really obscure that I may not know about.
Okay.
And a big part of the scavenger hunt is that we want people that are kids, particularly that are participating in this, to give them the opportunity to see cultural sites in La Plata or even in outside, just outside in Charles County, so that they become a little bit more familiar with what it is that they're looking at, and being able to hopefully engage in it, not just on the computer, but to actually maybe encourage them to go there, so they're learning a little bit about the cultural and architectural history of the town and of the larger community and of Charles County.
So will first of all, I was just leaning over to Patty and whisper in your ear, the first list we might give you is where all the plaques are. Because we've got plaques all over town, and those are the big
That's
sites.
good.
From the jailhouse to the theater to the
Absolutely.
church. So that might be a thing to do. I'm curious about the electronic vision for all of this, because we have another effort to look into electronic. We use an HPC code, and you can URC code, whatever the
Yeah.
the code. Use the code to look on your phone and you say, oh, I learned something about a site. Are you doing that within your efforts here? And I'm curious if you are, which would be awesome. Will we have rights to everything afterwards?
That's a good question. I think the company probably has a lot of that built in. If they don't, I make QR codes all the time for various things that we do, so we can add it if not a part of the package.
Well, and if
To
they
that
don't-
end, and backing up to Don for 1 second, even though it's electronic, they have to go to the site. So the way it is orchestrated is that through GPS technology, they know if the person is at the site. So let's say we're going
Okay,
to a
right.
plaque A, and they say they're at the plaque and they push the button to say found it or whatever. If they're not there, it doesn't register that they found it.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
So-
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
even though we have this electronic touch, the idea is that they get out and about.
I love it.
Yeah.
And
And then whatever's electronic, we can always print out, because I don't want seniors, people with special challenges, or anyone to be left out of it because they don't have the technology.
yeah,
Mhm.
so when they push the button, what happens besides it acknowledges that they're at the spot? Do they see anything on the phone? Does it tell them what they're looking at? Do they get any further information about the site?
Most likely, most of these things do a whole rah-rah, like things burst and move, like,
Yeah.
oh, you found it. You have 5 more quests or
So if
whatever.
if it does that, and some of that would mean we would prepare the material to support it, and it would end up somewhere. It may be Don, if we will have data rights to everything that we put into this thing so that we can use it in the future beyond this one event.
Let me write that down as a question, because I do know that for a lot of these things, they can become public. So after it's created, if someone wants to do a La Plata scavenger hunt on their own, it may be available on the site. The way it works is like right now, we could go to the site and say, I'm in Bethesda, Maryland, and I want to do a scavenger hunt. And you choose Bethesda, Maryland, and they already have a hunt put together, and you can do it. You pay a fee. So with your fee, you are subscribing so that you can do more than one hunt or do it whenever, or you're buying, let's say, 1 month. So when
Yeah,
I was
so-
in the classroom, that was like an activity. I would buy like 1 month and have all my classes do the activity. So that's a good question about ownership rights, because this time we're doing like a private label scavenger hunt.
Yeah, we've been talking about developing essentially a walking tour or some other thing that would map everybody to different interesting places in the town that they could do anytime. And they would and we generate a map or something and tell them where all the places are, but then they would go and hit an HPC code and pop up, oh, here's what happened at the jailhouse. And, because there's a plaque at the jailhouse. Here's what the jailhouse was all about. It was built in such and such a year. Over time, it's now the prosecuting attorney's offices now, which is kind of an interesting use of the jail. They belong there. So, can I I hope that's. not
One-stop
missing.
shop.
So anyway, yeah, so taking what you're building here as a potential foundation for a future vision like that might be very helpful. And that's why I was jumping on it with such interest.
Now, we have a list of all the historic buildings in the
Mhm.
town that we will eventually
Mhm.
be incorporating into the plaque program. So if you are interested in working off of that list, such as the first building in the town of La Plata, known as the Chapman Building, or, as you said, the jailhouse, or where Domino's Pizza is today, or Landon's Ice Cream, or what else is on here, the Hotchkiss Building, or Old Southern Maryland Bank. These would be all listed, that we have the dates, we have the addresses of them. That might help you to move it along,
Yeah,
be it within the structure of the businesses of the town.
I like that.
I mean, I don't think we want to go towards private homes or anything like that.
Not unless we were highlighting that one home that's barely outside of the limits. There are two of them, the one with the big lake and the animals. Like,
It's not a historic home.
no, it's not, but like for a scavenger hunt, like what's known as the unofficial petting zoo of La Plata. I mean, that's kind of, there need to be some other like fun things in there as well to round it out, or we may not have enough items. But that's just an idea, but we'll build it.
Are you thinking probably 10 to 12 items? Was that what you did before?
For like little kids, 10 to 12, but when you're talking about something that's going to run over several months, I think you normally have about 20. Because the idea is that most of these can be completed in about 2 hours. And so we have a pretty small footprint. We're not sending people like in a 30-mile radius. You want it to be engaging and challenging enough where some are going to really stump them. They're going to have to move all around. So I think about 20. And then if we have more, the scavenger hunt can have a number. Like we've given you 40 stops. 15 is a complete quest. And so that way, if someone is over toward Tillman Lake, and that's an area that they can access, they'd have enough things in that area to get to the 15. So there's a lot of ways that it can be put together.
Okay,
Awesome.
thanks.
I have one thing I'd like to offer. So I love
Yes.
all the energy you're bringing to this, Lucinda. I love all these ideas. So the one that we haven't talked about as much, inviting the public to bring in their own kind of artifacts and photos and stuff like that. And that was around the holiday time. So towards the end of the year, that one's really interesting. And to me, and it's colliding with another thing that I was going to bring up later on, but when I was in Annapolis just a couple of weeks ago at another event up there at the State House, they had invited in a museum from Baltimore to and they had set up a whole table of Maryland African American history artifacts, and they had several photographs. And when I met the collection manager, her name is M. Davidson. She's a collection manager at the Reginald F. Lewis Museum in Baltimore. And I introduced myself to her and told her I was from La Plata. She grabbed me by the elbow and took me over to the table. And she goes, "La Plata, come here." And she had La Plata pictures sitting on her table. Well, the interesting thing that as we got talking, and I've already shared Don her contact information, so he could
Okay.
look into this. But the thing that this is a thing that they do with that museum is they go out to communities in the state of Maryland and they bring African-American history artifacts from the Reginald F. Lewis Museum. And and I was thinking about like, where could we go where people would come out to it? But boy, what a way to sort of seed that event with some kind of interesting, cool stuff that's La Plata centric and African-American history, and then invite people to also at the same time, and that's it out in our lobby here, right? Like kind of show all of that. If we could work something like that out, that would I don't know, it's kind of interesting. So I liked hearing all of what you just brought, and it made me think of that to kind of pair with it.
I love that. Three quick things. One, I did mention that to Don, and when we had the subcommittee meeting, I did mention that the Baltimore Train Museum does train day and all kinds of things. Maybe I can contact them to see if they do the outreach outside of their beautiful building. Like they have everything there. But I'm a trainee. I take Amtrak. I've taken it all the way over to New Orleans, all the way up to Quebec, down to Florida all the time. So I love trains. And I would like to see more emphasis on the train history of La Plata. So I'm trying to get that incorporated. I will definitely contact the train museum. Okay, then number 2 on that thought. This year, one of the Friday night concerts falls on June 19th, which is the Juneteenth federal holiday. We are closed. Originally, the conversations lean toward no event because we're closed. We've also never had an event, and Leonardtown and Waldorf have really big events. Then I think in one of the meetings, the council meetings, after that meeting on a Wednesday, I got the memo, book a concert. So, now I'm really playing in the field. I'm excited. We're going to make sure that people come to La Plata and don't have to go all the way to Waldorf or Leonardtown. Even though it's supposed to just be a regular concert, I think that's difficult to do given the fact that it's a federal holiday and the significance. That could be a perfect time for that museum to come out and supplement that Friday night concert. So I will definitely contact them for that. And then the other idea, I really want to open up the the atrium, like at least 2 other times, particularly in the winter, to showcase La Plata artists, history, this and that. So to that end, particularly with this one museum, maybe they could be integral in supplementing what we already can get our hands on for a February open house in the atrium. So for me, I think that we underuse our really pretty building. When people actually come here and they come in, I hear so much about how great it is to come to our concerts because the grounds are beautiful. People are curious about what's inside. I would like to use the low-hanging fruit of just opening the doors and letting people come in a couple times a year and having some programming that is interesting for the people of La Plata to come to. So I'm so glad that the lady pulled you by the arm and like showed you all these things because we can use it and it helps with our budget because everything costs money. So they're already philanthropic, so hopefully they'll bring it down here for low cost or no cost. If you all like that idea, one more time, we only have certain numbers of people here on staff. So HPC can definitely volunteer to help man the atrium when we have these open houses. That would be great.
Well, when you know what what you're talking about in terms of the details of that, we'll certainly look at that. Sure.
Yeah.
One other thing while I've stolen the floor here is, if you could reach out to Stuart Bowling, who's our co-chair here. They are doing a lot of work outside already relative to, the 1926, tornado. And of course, we're coming up on the 100-year anniversary of all that. There's a lot of things that are coming that are outside the town's purview, but I know that they've collected a lot of artifacts and are looking for a means to display them. And I know they were looking at potential use of the atrium here and some other things, and it lines up with what you're talking about. So I would request that you reach out to Stuart. I'm sure if he was here, not today and not sick, he would be tooting this by himself. I wouldn't need to do it, but if you guys could be sure to reach to him and let him know what you're trying to do. And they're looking for a way to do that anyway. And there's, just for your awareness, and this is outside of HPC and it's outside of this, but they, Stuart and one of the other guys, Tony, proves that they wrote a book about that tornado. And there's some events that they're planning relative to their book that's coming up in the fall, with the
Port Tobacco
Port
Players.
Tobacco Players. And you guys should be aware of that stuff too, because I think we can promote each other and do good. So please reach out to Stuart Bowling. And if you need contact information, we can help you with that.
And they have a documentary that'll be coming out in
Mhm.
November.
Yep.
So that's another important asset.
Yep.
We could use.
I mean, those are the kinds of things that provide community programming. It brings out different audiences because not everyone comes to concerts and festivals.
Exactly.
It would be really neat to now see, this is where I get confused as to where my responsibility begins and ends, but having the documentary shown on a large screen, having some kind of little reception, book signing in the atrium. I am in touch with a company that helps to bring programming to the screen. So instead of me running around with my camera doing my little frenetic Facebook Lives, we would actually have someone set up to stream to people who can't make it out to the event. And so these are the kinds of things that when I'm talking to residents, particularly who are new to La Plata, they don't know any of these things.
Yeah. And Stuart can give you all the details of what they're doing with the documentary, because I think it's going to air on TV.
It is. It's
So,
being done
Oh,
by
great.
yeah, so-
American Mission
so
Public.
certainly
All this
we
is on-
can tell everybody that it's coming, but if they could get another showing of it on a screen somewhere or do something else, that could probably be arranged as well. But I'll leave that to them because that's kind of outside our purview.
Okay.
Listen, we can discuss some of those things. I see potentially, just in terms of timing and other events, the focus on the 250 can go a lot of different directions, but obviously it's going to depend upon availability for the atrium, because that's something the town manager would have to approve for use of that area. But I think there's some great ideas here that could be, if they're not specifically part of the Maryland 250, that could be used for other programming, as you know, you're looking for community activity opportunities. So I think there's some really good stuff here.
And as long as it's warm and not raining or snowing or ice storming,
Yeah.
we can always spin an event anytime outside.
Yep.
So keep that in mind as well. November is kind of chilly, you know, for the timing of their documentary, but definitely looking for more programming that's easy for the one person, myself, to get going, you know, with volunteers. And then I think Mr. Gilpin, you were asking about staffing and so forth. The Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts are very, very dependable groups for helping for events. And I'm sure there are others out there, but we can generally get 5 to 15 people, and the parents, they step in to help. So as we're approaching these various events, even train station, that's our group. Those are our groups.
Cool. And by the way, the trains, we're working on the schedule for the train station openings this year. We've got a draft
Yeah.
schedule with Don. But La Plata, April 20, whatever,
Fifth.
25th is La Plata is, the train station will be open.
Yeah.
So if there's
Okay.
anything you want to
Yeah.
do to integrate that opening to your activities, that would be awesome.
I
Uh,
would.
be happy to support that, but you just got to tell us what you need from us to, just like we participate in the trick or treat thing every year, and we participate in, we usually have an opportunity to get Santa Claus out there on Small Business Saturday and other stuff. So if there's any of those that line up well with the calendar of events that Don already has, then we can talk about that too. Okay.
Let me throw one at you real quickly. Let me see what date it is. October. I expanded the business trick or trail to a whole party over here in the late afternoon, evening. I think it's October 24th. So the trick or trail is normally 1 to 3, and we have treats over here. What I
Yeah.
observed is that at 3, people were kind of like, oh, okay, now what do we do? So this year we had like a little party and we had an outdoor movie. It was successful to the point that it was a last minute add-on. This year it is on the calendar already. I think it would be super great to have like a spooky something set up at the train museum. After dark. This year dark hit, the sunset was about 6:20 p.m. So that could be really fun if you wanted to get in on that.
Yes, I'm sure that we would. I was just peeking ahead at my calendar here. It looks like we are planning to be open on that Saturday already.
Woohoo.
Last
It's
year we did
aligning.
it aligned with your timing last year, and what was it, noon to 3 or whatever you did last year. So I think we can realign to the timing to be part of that effort. Just let us know.
This year, the time for trick or trail on the website, I tried to make it as easy to understand as possible, but eventually there will be more info behind the hyperlink. It's termed Trick or Trail and Halloween Party. Business Trick or Treat 1 to 3. Party
Right.
at Town Hall 3 to 8.
Okay.
So not if, you are planning to be open. So what I'll do is modify this to say party at Town Hall and train station 3 to 8. And that way you can figure out what you want to do when people come over to the train station during that time. If you'd like me to do that, I can add you in right now so that people already are thinking, oh, spooky train. I wonder what that's all about.
Is
Okay.
this, I just gotta ask, is this still part of the Maryland 250? I feel like we've gone way down a different.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah,
it's not.
Yes, sir, we should
Yeah.
state
That
in the
isn't.
agenda, which is Maryland 250.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry. Even though if Maryland 250 wants a part of this party, I'm fine with it because we have the whole area of Town Hall to work with. If you want to have something, you can. I forgot about that opportunity.
I think you really outlined like 4 very significant areas, and I say this all the time. I keep learning this lesson over and over again. The more we focus, the more we get stuff done.
Yes.
And if we try and pile too many things on, then we get paralyzed with just overwhelming.
Yes, I agree, Councilman Gutenberg.
Yeah.
I think we will continue to focus on the core Maryland 250 programs that we talked about earlier. There's other opportunities, obviously, for other things that are outside of Maryland 250. And I think these are all great opportunities, but they are separate and I think distinct.
All right, so reach out to us later on the Halloween stuff, and we can talk about that and the small
Sure.
business center as well, if you're doing something there.
Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you, Lucinda. I'm sorry I didn't interrupt you.
Oh, no, I'm glad to come.
Time to move
And
it.
we will reconvene soon about the Celebrate La Plata activities. HPC as a whole, if you want to, first of all, in the vending booth area, generally there hasn't been well, this last year there was not an HPC table booth. Do you want one?
Lucinda, I would recommend that not occur simply
Okay.
because it would appear as if we would, number one, we'd have to notice it as a potential gathering of the membership of the HPC, and there would be
Okay.
optics that there might be discussion about items that the HPC may engage in. So having committee members there, I think, are fine. But having the entire HPC manning a booth I would discourage that.
Well, we can,
And-
well, look,
It doesn't mean you can't be there,
aren't
but
we
it's,
already- I'm sorry, I apologize.
so that's fine.
Aren't we already open, Rich, for the train museum
we are,
that day?
okay.
So,
So there aren't enough of us to
Right.
create a quorum in either spot at the same time.
That-
So I think your risk is low.
Okay. And that's a
No.
low risk.
No, that's fine. I forgot. HPC is train museum for the most part, so you can do your thing over there. Other committees, and maybe they don't function like yours, like Keep La Plata Beautiful always has a table. So just making sure that we recognize the various entities for the town, that's the goal. But you're over at the train station and you're manning the photo history booth, so that's great. Okay. I don't really have anything else except to answer questions. The focus number one is getting Celebrate in that photo area together. And then number two is getting the scavenger hunt together and presenting that to the community and getting your part in the scavenger hunt. But we will have another subcommittee meeting, and I guess you need to find another part of the subcommittee, like get some other people involved so that we can execute the main four things that we outlined.
Chair, I just wanted also to elaborate, just to be clear, for the Maryland 250 program is fluid, and the number of meetings the HPC has is not conducive to have continuous update on things that are going to happen. The subcommittee then becomes the folks that are going to provide additional direction and help and supplement the staff's efforts. So we will report at our regular meetings on the status of the Maryland 250 program, but staff's not looking for the HPC as a body to approve these items because we have the subcommittee members that'll be involved with that.
And Don and I definitely talk about these things on a regular basis. So, you know, him and the subcommittee will bring the details to me. Any of you can always send me an email if you have specific questions, but I'm really looking forward to this part of the events because it just brings a little more richness into, a festival that can just kind of be a lot of random fun things. So
Right. All right. Awesome. Thank you, Lucinda. Appreciate that.
thanks.
thank you. So I can sign off now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Sandra.
I'll
Good stuff.
see all of you around.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You.
Okay.
I just want to bring up since Commissioner Vice Chair Bowling's not here, Vice Chair Bowling had proffered the idea of using banners as part of the Maryland 250 program. As I indicated in my staff report, there's several unknowns in this, and I think I think the banner program is a great idea. I'm just not, I'm a little bit less optimistic about incorporating this as part of Maryland 250 because particularly because we don't have the details for this. We don't know what the ultimate cost of this is going to be. Whereas we do have a budget, a tentative budget for the Maryland 250 program. And we are, as you heard Lucinda speak on, well into the planning of this. So I think like I said, Commissioner Bulling's idea is fine. I think there might be a place for that for in later on, but not necessarily part of Maryland 250, but the subcommittee, we can talk about it further.
Yeah, I did read your report there, and the one thing I would ask is when you do future reports like this, it's good to identify the risks and concerns, but if you could try to think in terms of yes, if, as opposed to no, because, in the way you write these things, might be a better way to approach it, because you list some things that are obviously real issues and concerns, and I'm not arguing with those. But if you offer up a constraints or a set of, if there's a budget that exists for something like this, or you want to make sure there's control of the budget, which is legitimate comment, then just say, hey, we need whatever if we're going to do this, we can do it if we find a way to control the budget. We can do it if approvals for the banners are done in the right, with the right authority, as opposed to not a company doing it, but the town does it. Those kinds of comments, I think, are very legitimate, but you can help us find a way forward, find a way to yes, by saying, if we can support these ideas, if, as opposed to these things are high risk and we probably shouldn't. So if you could, just in the future, as you write these things, it would be very helpful.
I will comment to say that I was pressed for time because I only got Commissioner Bowling's email.
Yeah, I
I
know.
think literally the evening before, and I have a deadline, so I put down the immediate concerns. If there are questions at the meeting, then I'm happy to answer any gaps that are there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't think we need to take the time today to do that, especially since he's not here anyway. And I'm sure you'll have opportunity, maybe, I don't know if it's a subcommittee thing or how it's going to work.
I'm just looking at this as we can discuss it at the subcommittee, but again, we do have budget for specifically for the programming that this was not accounted for.
Sure.
So
It's
another budget, perhaps.
It's a
another
good long-term
year.
effort. I've seen these things in
Yeah,
other towns.
I
It
too.
looks really cool. And if you want to find a way to preserve that small town feeling, when you drive through and you see those kinds of displays, it makes it feel small town, even though we're not anymore. So it's a nice
Patty Mudd was on
nice
this
thing.
7 or 8 years ago, wanting this to happen,
Yeah. Oh,
and we still haven't gotten there.
yeah, there we are. Okay. Now you said refer to a subcommittee. Do we have a subcommittee that's looking at this?
Yes, we do. That was Commissioner Hobbs and former Commissioner Hancher.
Oh, that's the 250 committee.
That's for the 250.
Okay.
I would recommend having maybe one more member just to provide that additional help. Well, leave that to the commission.
Yeah.
I think staff would appreciate that additional help.
Yeah, we'll look at that. To be candid, I think Stuart might have an interest in this, but I can't speak for him. So I'm not going to
Well,
put him on the spot here.
I'd like to have at least a nomination. She doesn't have to be here. But I would like to have an appointment on there for me to help the town. I need some additional staffing for this, for help. So I don't know if you or Mary Beth perhaps might be interested in that in lieu of Stuart.
Are we on the
April 25th right now. I
the April 25th? And I can certainly help with that if we have ample coverage for the train station that day.
Well, this is basically to attend meetings with staff and planning the
Yes,
Maryland
yes,
250.
yes.
That's
I'm
what
happy.
this is for.
happy.
Yeah, I can help with that as well. So that's okay. But
So if you're interested,
Yeah.
maybe somebody can
Yeah.
make a motion for your appointment.
okay, so so without bumping into the Open Meeting Act, which is, if we have, how many is too many?
I think,
because we talked about Jane and,
If
I'm
you-
just looking for a replacement for
CD
former
Watt.
Commissioner Hatcher, yes.
Okay.
I can do it or you can do it. Do you have the time to do it?
It depends. It just depends.
Depends on when this,
My main job in life is going to doctor's appointments these days between my wife and I. So that's what life is when you're retired.
Well, I'm
So
happy to
beyond
serve.
that,
Okay.
could I possibly say, it would make sense to me if Mary Beth were serving and if Rich can help us whenever possible, that's marvelous.
I think that works.
Okay.
okay.
But I would have Mary Beth as the formal
Yeah.
subcommittee
Yes.
appointee.
I suspect you could drag any of us individually into a meeting without being appointed to a subcommittee. officially.
Well, I think it's having a subcommittee member who's known as appointed as being the responsible party, then it makes it easier for
Okay.
staff to go to that person and not,
Yeah.
rather than
That's
having
all
it
right.
unknown.
Perfectly fine.
Thanks.
So somebody wants to make a motion for appointment and
I make a motion to have Mary Beth Chandler serve as part of the subcommittee for the 250th anniversary celebration. So
I will second that.
In favor?
Aye.
I,
Did you say yes? Did you? No, I don't want to know. We're not in the discussion yet. If you don't want to know, you gotta speak up.
Okay, I can do this.
Okay.
so,
I appreciate
so
it.
for a record, that
Terrific.
motion was made by Councilmember Gutenberg and
It's made
second.
by
No, it's
Jane.
made by
Seconded
Jim by
by-
Jane. Oh, pardon me. Okay, there we go. That's why I do this.
Yeah, and then now we haven't held the vote yet. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
All right, all right. Motion passes unanimously.
Now I'm on a
Okay.
125 committee and a 250 committee. If I can just keep them straight. Our church was.
Just
celebrating
multiply it by 2 and you're
125.
there. Okay. All right,
And can I just add one thing? We will have a subcommittee meeting prior to the 25th.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh,
okay. I
absolutely.
just want to be sure that, oh, I'm sorry.
I'll be talking to Lucinda about it and
Yeah, okay,
I'd
wonderful.
like to have some, as greatest extent we can to start programming them so that we know dates and times,
Wonderful.
to make that
That's
easier
great.
for everybody.
Yeah.
Especially as we get closer to it.
okay. Any other, I guess we're past all the work group discussion reports. right?
We have I was just going to provide in 4.2, just an update on the historic preservation professionals list.
Okay,
So I've begun that. I'll have some sort of list for you at the next meeting. Just as I was going through and looking for professionals, I've discovered that it's a little harder than I anticipated it was going to be to find some of these folks out there. So I'm going to be casting a little bit wider net to find folks. I do have some connections that might help facilitate putting that list together. I admittedly didn't anticipate having some of the challenges that I do and trying to find experts that have background with preservation skills and techniques and so forth, but they're out there. I'm just going to end up having to cast a little bit wider net, but I'll have something for you at the next meeting.
Thank you.
So that's the end of that report.
okay. All right, so that ends our work group reports, I guess. Normally, we would have something related to the train station and where we are.
So-
But you have a proposed schedule that you're looking at, I guess.
So I have on the agenda
Chair report.
under 5 is matters for information. And we included chair report, but really it probably should read commission reports and or commission comments. And that's really an opportunity to have each member of the HPC provide any comments that they have related to the commission or activities or things that are going on in the community. So everyone has an equal and fair opportunity to
Perfect.
kind of report out on what's on their mind.
Okay, all right. Anybody have anything that you want to put there?
Well,
It won't
regarding,
surprise you, I have a call.
regarding the schoolhouse
Yeah.
plaque, is this an appropriate time?
Yes.
Okay, the schoolhouse marker, we've met with Don Garner about having that installed. And he's coming back to us with a little bit more information, but that should probably be in place within the month.
It's awesome. Yeah, that activity was fun for me because I didn't realize, I'd heard rumors about where that school used to be. Now I know.
Yeah.
So that was really, really fun for me. Okay, one of the things I'd like to follow up on, am I stepping on you? Are you done? Did you have
I'm
that
done.
chance? Okay, train station stuff, just to catch up on what's going on. So we're getting ready to open up here in April, and which is coming upon us quickly. And I'd like to know some information about a couple things. A, is the building in good shape and ready to go? B, we have an open question related to parking, and I don't know what's happened over the winter since this first popped up, where all the parking was blocked off. And I'm looking for, is there a plan forward so that we have parking and that we have ADA access to the building as it's supposed to be, and those things? So can somebody give me an update on where we are with the parking? Because I see it's still blocked off.
Yeah, we will, I can have reach back out to you on that offline. We'll give you an update on some of these things. There's certain areas that I don't want to get into in terms of
Well,
discussion.
without getting into the specifics, is there a plan and that the parking will be available?
I
or-
will discuss with the town manager.
Okay, all right. In terms of the building itself, last time I was in it, which was not that long ago, everything seemed to be okay. There's still some damage that wasn't fixed on the door to the caboose. I think we still have an open question in terms of potential alarm protection for the caboose. There is an alarm, I guess, of some sort in the building. I don't know how to operate it or who operates it. Maybe we can just extend its coverage to cover the caboose. That would be a good thing. So maybe we could look into that.
I have had, so the commission's aware, I had a meeting I set up with Vice Chair Bowling and the Public Works Director, Wilson Cochran.
Good.
And from the outcome of that meeting was that if there are concerns from the volunteers who are utilizing that town asset, that those be reported to Mr. Bowling, who will collect comments and report those to the Public Works Director, who's responsible for that asset.
And what was his name again? I apologize.
It is Wilson Cochran, Public Works Director. He's responsible for the maintenance of the building and the grounds.
They certainly need attention.
Yeah.
Grave attention.
But these are, again,
So
these,
just take our concerns to Stuart Bowling, and he in turn will take.
yes,
them
sir.
to-
Yes, ma'am.
Got it.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we could talk about the schedule for the openings. I sent it to you with an update to it. Whenever you want. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it, but our first opening is in April. So assuming we're good to go on that, we can talk about the rest of them at leisure. You have any thoughts on that?
Well, again, this is not and I want to be clear for the record that this is a voluntary effort. This is not a Historic Preservation Commission responsibility or activity. This is something that there may be overlap between commission members and volunteers. The volunteers have questions about it. I'm happy to to address that, but not as, as a commission, that is not the commission's responsibility.
The volunteers.
Well, let us know when the town thinks the museum is going to be open. Would you do that? All right. Another specific item related to the train station. We've been trying to get a sign procured to advertise when the museum is open. It's been out there for a long time. So if you give me a status on ordering a sign and having it installed.
And in
What's
the
what sign?
past,
What sign is this?
It's a schedule. It just has the train's open on these days, and we have a nice design. It's been submitted for a long time. It's been over to the staff for a while, and I'm just looking to. We open in April. It would be good to have the sign up before we open.
The signage would have to be authorized by the town manager.
Okay.
can we get that done?
Yeah. So
We will,
yeah, I mean,
we can engage, I will engage the town manager.
On another note, generally on Martin's marquee, we have when the train station is open. They usually put it up for some Friday evening, but the station is open on Saturday morning. Are we still committed to do that? Or is that against some town?
So
code?
You're putting it, so it's, what kind of a sign is
no,
this? Is it
stop.
a-
I'm going to suggest that we take this offline because it's always happened in on a personal relationship that somebody had. That Tony always was the one to set that up, and all they say is that the train museum is going to be open on a given date, and Tony just did that.
So as a person of the town, he has the right to do that, to go to Martin.
Well, it's two private individuals talking about something, they do it.
Okay.
well, I disagree. If there is a sign that is being asked for, right, we would.
We are
that
not
can be a
asked.
thing on a work, that can be a thing on a work plan, and it can be a conversation that's had with town staff, but this is the first I've heard of it, and I don't understand the level of frustration that's being expressed.
No.
And we have other mechanisms for advertising too. The way I usually find out about it is not by walking by the train station, which is an unusual thing to do. There's no sidewalks over there. The way I usually find out about it is on a social media post that the town does. And so we have mechanisms for doing that, and we do it all the time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. And
And we have friends and relatives too.
Yeah.
You know, we can talk about it. I mean, that's part of our, you know, we
Yeah.
can take that on ourselves as well.
Yep. Okay. What Mary Beth was referring to relative to the sign at Martin's gas station, you know, they put up signs all the time, whether it's somebody's anniversary or someone passed away or, you know, whatever they do, they just do it. And, they have in the past put up a sign that says, hey, the train museum is going to be open on Saturday, the 20, whatever. So, and people see it, and it's helpful.
So if a private citizen
It's a
wants
private
to go
citizen.
to them privately and have it posted there,
Yeah.
we're not doing it as an
And
organization.
Tony
We're
was the
not
one-
doing it as
Yeah.
as a historic preservation commission, so it really doesn't involve.
And
If they're
Permitted
putting,
by
some-
the
if they're
town.
putting, if they're putting something up, then that's between you and the owner of the station.
exactly,
Okay,
Um,
thank you.
that's what we're doing. And
But
if I got excited, I didn't want to see us stop this thing. It's a good behavior, and I'd hope we could keep it and not shut it down. So that's why I got a little.
And I think the feedback that we get on the on the days that we're open, a lot of people say, oh, I saw it there
Yeah,
on
sure.
marquee. So I think.
And they also put up
it's helpful.
signage at the
The market.
market.
Yeah.
And that helps a lot too. People go to the market and they say, oh, it's open today, let's go. So that's very helpful.
But those were just small things that we did prior to recent changes.
Okay, but in terms of that sign, so that people, when they come to the museum and what have you, they know when it's open, or people come by and they see it and they come and it's always closed, the sign is there, probably will be hung on the fence at the parking lot, assuming we get to use the parking lot. It'll be hung at that fence and then they can see, oh, they're not closed today, but oh, it's going to be open next week or 2 weeks. We open once a month, and we also publicize it in the
Town notes.
town notes thing, so, which is a good thing too, so. And it's on the calendar. I guess the openings will end up on the calendar, right? The town calendar, events calendar.
I'm not in charge of the calendar to know if it's there or not.
Do we need to do something? Well, I'll leave it
As
to
a
you.
commission, no.
As a commission, no. Okay. All right. All right, you've already gotten the update on the main museum. So that's the other thing I was going to ask about. So I don't have anything else. Anybody else have anything for care, matters of information?
Yeah.
Councilman, is there anything you want to talk about today?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So a couple of things I was going to talk about, we already talked about, so I won't go into the budget piece. We already talked about that earlier. I wanted to talk about the Maryland Museum of African American History contact that was made, so brought that up. I would like to just put on your radar, Mr. Dooley, we talked some months ago about a rule of procedures for the HPC. We don't formally have one adopted because of the changeover of legal services. That was kind of delayed. I think, especially too, in light of like what we see here today, like I get concerned about decorum, especially decorum from a chair who gets frustrated so easy. I think a rule of procedure would.
Well, that was
help.
helpful.
Well, hang on. Point of order, sir.
Yeah.
Right. Like in this part. So like what I would value is having that so that we can communicate it and have a common understanding and have mechanisms as a group to manage, frustration or just the way we're communicating here, because, the stuff we're doing here is interesting and it's fun and it should not be a thing that causes this much angst and upsettedness. And frankly, that's the kind of stuff that drives participation away from civic engagement and self-governance. And I would not like to see that persist in any area of our local government, and in particular right here. So that's becoming a very important issue to me. So I'd really like to get that resolved as soon as we can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then what I think that's it actually, because I was really happy to talk about the other things, but I will make this last comment though. I actually don't see evidence of us doing nothing. Here's what I saw today, right? There are a number of meetings that are happening for a repair list, right? And so we talked about this in a previous meeting, understanding that there was some frustration that things weren't getting addressed in the facility, right? So I'm very happy to hear that town staff had a meeting with Mr. Stewart to discuss exactly what we talked about in a previous meeting, which was it would be beneficial if the people working in the train museum individually got that list together, because they're the ones most informed about knowing, because they have the most contact with the facility, right? And so I that is goodness, and it's movement forward. I think that also, right, we should all know as individual residents of the town of La Plata, if you go to the town website, top right-hand side, there's a little round button, report an issue. You drop it in there, it goes to every single department manager. So any issue you have with the train station, right? If you're there, you don't even have to wait to talk to Stuart and have him consolidate it. That's a helpful thing, certainly, because then it's all consolidated together and it gets on the public works director's job list. So there's multiple mechanisms there. I love what Lucinda did today. I mean, the energy that she brings, all of those ideas, and that stuff, she's not just talking about that stuff, she is doing it. There's real stuff happening, and she's asking for us to engage with her town staff to get things done. All goodness, right? On Maryland 250 and the Centennial Plaque stuff, we have subcommittees going that are already working on the work plan. So I see a lot of positivity here. I see a lot of stuff moving forward. And so in that way, I'm very encouraged about what's happening here on the HPC. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Dooley.
Okay. You have anything?
No, I think I was just going to report out that, which we've already know about at this point, is that Kathy Hancher had submitted a resignation from the HPC. The broad overview is is that she had some other personal things that she had to attend to, that she would not have any further time to be able to, unfortunately, devote for the town. So she's regretfully had to submit her resignation. So we will be reposting for that particular post on the commission, which is our backup member. And hopefully we'll have somebody for to seat the next meeting or two, depending on how our outreach goes.
Just a thought on that one. If we had, so recent that we did the request for posting here the last time, can we use the existing slate and see if there's still interest from the others that applied and select, or has it been too long and we need to go through the full process again?
I don't think that it's the list is that old, because we're certainly talking less than a year.
3 months.
Right. Typically a year is usually most lists are good for. And those people that would certainly qualify and are interested, yeah, we can absolutely reach back out to them.
No,
but
what I was wondering is if we could just go to the list and do a recommended appointment from the list that we already have, what we've already done. We've interviewed, we've talked to them.
I understand.
So-
I think for the community's benefit, it still is better to enable the residents to know that there's an opening that they have the ability to apply for, that they may have wanted to but couldn't at the time.
Okay.
And so it provides an open government, open
Okay.
opportunity to
All right, then-
participate.
Okay, that's good. And then the only thing I would ask is let's do it quickly. See how quickly we can do it. We're kind of getting shorthanded, so if we can do it quickly, that would be good. Let me know. Let us all know.
We will, the town clerk or legislative analyst will put that together at her soonest, nearest opportunity to do that, as she does with all other openings on boards and commissions.
Excellent.
There's a process for that.
Thank you. Okay, anything else? Do we have any other new business or anything that anybody wants to bring forward?
I do not.
Is there any public comment desired? I know we're on TV, but I don't think anybody's watching. Okay, do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
And at 12:46 p.m.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll just let me know.